In this video, I'll show how shadowing transformed my confidence in speaking English and how it can do the same for you. I'm using the dual coding technique to engage both sides of your brain, making learning easier and boosting long-term memory. Plus, I'll share practical tips you can start using today. Let's dive in. Easy shadowing. Speaking English felt impossible. My accent, my confidence, all of it. Then everything changed. Here is how. I felt embarrassed. I had studied English for years and could understand basically everything. But speaking in front of others still made me nervous. Every weekend, I went to the park to play basketball. It was my favorite thing to do. But there were 3 girls who always sat on the sidelines, watching. They didn't join the games. Instead, they seemed to enjoy making fun of people. Whenever I spoke, they whispered, laughed, and mimicked me. "She speaks funny," one of them said loudly, mocking my words in an exaggerated voice. Their laughter cut deep, like sharp little knives slicing through my confidence. I tried to focus on the game, but I kept making mistakes. I missed passes, threw the ball too high, and even stumbled on the court. The sound of their laughter wouldn't leave my mind, and the harder I tried to ignore them, the worse I played. When I got home, I locked myself in my room and cried. The echoes of their mocking voices wouldn't stop. That weekend, I stayed home instead of going to the park. I felt disappointed in myself, but I didn't know what else to do. The moment I found shadowing. The next weekend, I sat by my bedroom window, staring at the basketball court from afar. I wanted to go back, but the thought of facing those mean girls again made my stomach twist. That evening, I searched online for ways to improve my confidence in speaking English. That's when I came across something called the shadowing technique. It sounded strange at first, listening to someone speak and repeating their words at the same time. But as I read more, I learned it wasn't just about copying words. It could help with pronunciation, intonation, and rhythm, making speech sound more natural. I decided to try it. I chose a basketball tutorial video because it felt like the right mix of challenge and fun. The speaker's voice was clear, and I could almost imagine myself on the court as I listened. I played the video once to understand it. Then I hit replay and started shadowing, repeating each word as the speaker said it. My voice felt shaky at first, but I kept going. Discovering the power of shadowing. By the end of the session, something had shifted. My tongue didn't feel as heavy, and my words started flowing more smoothly. I felt like I had found a tool that could truly help me. At first, I practiced shadowing only when I was alone. I didn't want anyone to hear me, not even my family. I practiced in my room with the door closed, in the park early in the morning when no one was around, and even while I walked home from the grocery store. I started with basketball videos. repeating every word the speaker said, trying to match their rhythm, pauses, and tone.
Ball low to keep control.
I repeated, mimicking the way they said it. I imagined myself speaking with that same confidence one day. As I practiced, I made it a habit to push myself further. Sometimes I would replay one difficult sentence over and over until I could say it perfectly. I noticed something surprising. The more I practiced, the more I started to enjoy it. Shadowing became a routine, like a game I played with myself. My pronunciation got smoother, and I started to feel a little braver. I wasn't just learning to speak, I was learning to believe in myself again. Each small improvement felt like a victory, and I held on to that feeling tightly, knowing I'd need it when I finally faced those girls again. The way I did it. Shadowing is simple. You listen to someone speaking English and repeat what they say, matching their rhythm, tone, and pronunciation. You act like their shadow. This is the way I did it. Every morning, once the house was quiet, I chose a short basketball video on YouTube, my favorite sport. I played the video and listened carefully 3 times to understand every word. Then I turned up the volume, stood up, and mimicked the speaker, trying to copy everything, their pauses, their energy, even how they stressed certain words. At first, I wasn't sure if it was working, but I kept pushing through. Soon, I added something unique to my routine, recording myself while shadowing. After each practice, I listened to the recording. At first, I cringed. My voice didn't sound like the speaker's at all, but I kept at it. Day by day, I noticed small improvements, smoother sentences, clearer pronunciation, more confidence. Another trick I found helpful was using subtitles for difficult sentences. I paused, rewound, and repeated until I nailed it. It was a little like practicing a basketball move, focused, consistent, and intense. And I practiced anywhere I could, walking to the store, cleaning my room, or even brushing my teeth. Then, I discovered something super helpful. I started changing the speed of the YouTube videos. By going into the settings and adjusting the speed to 75%, I could hear everything much more clearly. It helped me focus on the rhythm, word stress, and those small pauses I usually missed when the video was playing at normal speed. Slowing it down made everything easier to follow, and I was able to repeat the phrases without feeling overwhelmed. It made a big difference in my practice. With each session, I felt my words becoming more natural. For the first time, I felt like English was my language too. Shadowing became my secret weapon. After a couple of weeks, I started to notice real changes, not just in my English, but in how I felt. I wasn't afraid to speak anymore. I no longer thought about the mean girls laughing or feeling nervous about my mistakes. I just played, and I spoke with confidence. One day, while I was practicing a new move on the court, one of the girls who used to laugh at me came over. "Hey, you've gotten a lot better," she said, smiling. I was surprised. She had always been so mean But now, her tone was different. "Thanks," I said, feeling proud. That day, I realized something. The shadowing technique didn't just improve my English. It gave me the confidence to believe in myself. I wasn't just learning to speak better. I was learning to trust myself and to keep going, no matter what anyone said. And from that moment, I knew I could do anything. And that's the end of this story for now. I hope it helped you see how this simple technique can make a big difference in not only learning English, but also in building confidence. How about yourself? Have you ever tried the shadowing technique? If so, how did it go? What would you do if you were in my shoes? Have you faced a similar challenge while learning something new? I'd love to hear your story and support you on your path. And please, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Oh, this story uses the dual coding method to improve language learning and memory. The dual coding method blends reading and listening to stories with captivating images and music, engaging both sides of the brain. The left side focuses on language processing, while the right interprets visuals and emotions. By activating both, this method strengthens learning and supports long-term memory retention. I hope you like it.